Good evening and welcome to Truth and Justice TV. I'm Jennifer Obaseki and today we have the King of Suave. Yes, one of my special guests. And before I really sort of outline what he does, I must say that I've been asking him to come on the show for quite some time because I've seen some of the amazing events that he has put together, and I feel that you as guests will, be enthralled with hearing all about him and his business. So, welcome to Mr. Henry Balogun. Henryson Balogun. Welcome. Thank you for coming onto the show.
That's perfectly fine. Yes. How do I start? Do I start by interviewing?
Well, I would say tell my guests exactly who you are.
Okay.
And what you do.
My name is Henryson Balogun. I've been into creative work for a very long time. I predominantly I started off doing IT or working on the IT front as a direct marketing agent for a lot of different companies. Then I moved into music, fashion, and a whole host of other things. As you'd say, sometimes you do not depict what you end up doing eventually. So my background was in studying law, like you, like my learned friend. Studied engineering, did a master's degree here, and all of a sudden started working in direct marketing in different companies. Started up with 3Com, from 3Com moved on to other companies, then eventually ended up with Thomas Warren. It's a digital marketing agency on the King's Road. I worked on numerous accounts there. Ongoing, I decided to go on my own branch off and see branch out and see how I would fare in the market. And I realized that from the people I worked with at different companies and enterprises, they were saying, "Hey, Henry, you're quite good at what you do. You have the personality and the presence to be able to articulate what you need to do in regards to specific projects, or if it's to do with films or music or recording artists or doing world tours for different people."
Wow.
I used to party a lot, to be honest with you.
Who doesn't like a party? And there ain't no party like a Nigerian party.
Yes. No, the funny thing is that it wasn't predominantly Nigerians. It was
but everybody loves a good party hosted by a Nigerian DJ or event planner, because they always end up being epic. But
absolutely.
Your events, coming back to those, when a client gives you a brief, do you get really excited about how you put your stamp on it, or how do you sort of analyze and where do you start?
I think it's based on my background and how I've managed to work through life. Most people call me a troubleshooter. I kind of look at what they say. I have attention to details in regards to my project. So they keep looking at me and saying, "Henry," they'll give me a project. Because I remember some time ago when I was working at Thomas Warren, one of the colleagues brought the eBay account to the company, and they thought it was a foregone conclusion that it was never going to work. And they put me in the back room, and I looked at it and I said, "Gosh, I've seen this before, and I'm very good at programming." So I actually, apart from using my IT skills, I had that other element to add to it. So I built it up in such a way that it became the third largest account.
Wow.
On the company, and although they got rid of the guy.
Yes, if he was dismissive and then you came and you smashed it, exactly.
Up, and he put it on my portfolio. Prior to that, I used to work with a guy called Dennis Rubinstein. He was the artist manager for Ike and Tina Turner. He did a lot of world touring for lots of different organizations and individuals in the music industry and film industry. So he got me on board in most of his projects because we were planning to do the Ike Turner film, and he told me to see whether I can put it together.
Wow.
And he knows I'm a wall climber, so I go to the studio and knock on the door and say, "This is who I am," and get things done. So he's surprised. We pushed it forward.
Excellent.
We've got the script for the film and tried to put things, unfortunately, he died recently. So I'm still got the rights to the film, but I'm trying to push other elements in regards to fashion. So what I'm trying to combine is fashion, music, and other enterprises, and combine them all together to be able to receive, because I've done most of it.
Yes, you are an amazing creative, plus you have the engineering and the legal, so quite a powerhouse in one man.
Absolutely.
But do you have a preference to any of those fields? Is there any one of those that really gets you? Is it all? Are they all equally loves of yours?
I'm a creative person, so I try not to get myself stuck into what you might call pigeonholing in an individual.
Or boxing yourself.
Or boxing yourself into a specific. So what I do is I try to find out if something's not working quite well with the music industry. I switch to fashion. From fashion, I move back to doing presentations for companies who want to actually bring in products from different locations. Like I'm working on a project right now, as I told you.
So market penetration, I call that market penetration.
Yes.
So some of you might know that as well as law, I do economics. So when people come and they have a brand they want to establish in a new market, would you say you've got a niche for that?
Absolutely.
And doing that is quite specific because you've got to understand the local market.
Okay. Absolutely.
And do you enjoy doing that as well? Smashing for brands, making sure they get a dominant place in the market.
That's my key strength.
Really,
it's being able to see it before it comes, know the bottlenecks that might ensue, and walk around them.
Excellent.
And they find it quite intriguing. They keep asking me the questions like, I was on a project. I'll give a good example where everybody in the film didn't want to get involved in it anymore. Everybody had run off, and they came to me and said, "Can you put this together?" I said, "Okay." I did it, and it succeeded. I was working with a person called Richard Blanchard. He does documentaries, and the person that was actually producing the film was very, very happy about how I put it together. And what I did was I left them to the end and decided to walk away and told them that you have to deal with it now. You
finish it off.
And I gave them the insight as to, at the end of the day, you're the one that's going to benefit from it.
So let them complete the execution. Wow, and not a lot of people would do that. Some people are glory hunters, feel that they must always be right there in the middle of the limelight. So we're going to take a very short break, but when we come back from the break, we're going to be looking at some of the hurdles. Yes. I know you've made it look and sound easy, but I know it's not always been a bed of roses. So we'll be looking at some of your challenges.
Yes.
So we'll see you in a few minutes.
See you too.
Welcome back, and today we have our Mr. Henrison Balogun.
Yes.
Now, the one thing you said to me today was English time, and everybody that knows me knows I do African time. So
I was panicking. I was like,
it's not my fault, it's in my genes now.
Yes.
But is that another thing? When you're dealing with different cultures, you have to understand how to communicate and how to manage them. Is that something you say you're quite good at? I'm a global chick. I like America. I like different, but I know I have to deal with people in their own language, if I say it like that.
Absolutely. Yes, because I do not pigeonhole myself in specific types of culture types. What I do is actually work with different people. I know there's Nigerians that have their own Nigerian time. Swedish people are very
military.
Even the Germans, the Norwegians, and so on and so forth. I work with them. I speak Swedish quite well. My kids are half Swedish, so I understand how time is important in regards to executing the project. And I don't get myself locked into that way of thinking.
Well, the other thing is I was going to say to you, as excellent as your delivery, I must say it can't have always been a bed of roses. What challenges do you find yourself dealing with? How do you deal with the most fussy clients? I never like to say a client is difficult, because as far as you're paying for me to do a job, I'm going to deliver. But sometimes clients can be quite fussy. How do you deal with that?
I'll give how I've learned this is because I've got a very strict mother. I used to be her favorite, not her favorite son, but the one that I actually executed all the work that she left behind.
Calls to most.
No, she doesn't call me. I fix it for her while she's not looking.
Okay.
So she was very, very thorough in regards. She was very picky. She would say, "Don't put your head on the cushion, especially when you're sitting in the living room." So you have to kind of know exactly what. She makes a lot of mistakes. So what I do was one of the people that one of her children that used to run around, making sure that if she dropped something, I pick them up. So I've learned how to deal with my mother in that way, even though sometimes she calls me sometimes and I listen to her 4 hours on the phone, because she has a way of outletting herself. That's how people deal with things. So I've learned that from dealing with my mother. And I've seen that it's given me an experience. All my educational background cannot help you.
Experience, you cannot learn it anywhere. You have to live it. You cannot pay for somebody to give you experience. You have to go through it yourself.
And
so your mum put you in all this training.
Yes, and she still does it now. She might call me very soon, trying to find out where I am. So I learned how to disassociate myself from personal relationships with individuals prior and after dealing with them. But after the rap party's gone by, I can smile with you, laugh with you, and ask you how you felt that your project went. It has always succeeded.
Okay. So, any other major hurdles when you're dealing with things, or throughout your own personal career?
Yeah, I've had health issues, and those health issues have been drastic and dramatic. Some people even look at me and say, "Are you still alive?"
Walking miracle.
Yes, I've been totally paralyzed before, completely.
Wow.
I'm still going through a lot of things. So I think that, in a way, has given me an experience. And also being a member of the church itself. I'm a knight in the church, Knight of Colombo. And I've helped the very old ladies who are still very beautiful. And I still put it there. They're still very beautiful, and they always want a very put together man to take them out for dinner. And I take them out for dinner.
So you help with the elderly ladies in the church,
yes.
Make sure that the welfare have a chat.
Yes. I take them out for dinners, and they look at me and say, "Well, Henry," said, "Why are you taking me out?" I said, "No, I just wanted to be happy, you know." And they themselves in the church look at me and say, "Oh, I like that guy." So they now made me a knight in the church, and so on and so forth. And I predominantly focus most of my efforts in regards to the work I conduct, or how I conduct myself with helping ladies. I've got children and girls predominantly. My son's autistic, but my daughters, I want to set an example for my children's well-being and welfare, and making sure that they see what daddy does is helping other females in industry. That's my focus. And making sure that they see it. So tomorrow morning or tomorrow year comes, they will have an auntie that will look after them too.
We pray to God. Exactly what you give out hopefully comes back to you in bountiful. Yes. We're going to take another short break. Then when we come back, we're going to be asking you, sir, what do we have to look forward for in Miss 2022 from you? Yes. So see you after these few moments.
See you too.
Welcome back, and today we have the amazing Mr. Henryson Balogun, and he's been telling us about his amazing career, how he studied engineering, law, and has moved into advertising and also now facilitating events. He's also explained to us what he loves doing, helping in the church, his passion for the creative industry. And can I ask you, was your mum quite supportive of you moving into the area of creative
She doesn't know
work?
what I do.
She still thinks she'll just help old ladies
My
in the
son
church?
the lawyer, and I'm saying, Mommy, yes, all is well. Yes, all is well. Because mom's she comes from one of the families back in Lagos. She's very very regal. She comes from the royal family, and she always has this persona of respectability, honor, and not doing anything rambly. Because her sister, Jumoke Debayo, who was on one of these films called On the Buses, in the 70s, Mixed Blessings.
Yes.
She went into it, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, if you're doing that, you're supposed to study things like engineering and being a lawyer and a doctor and so on and so forth, and you went to go and do creative work." But I got my inspiration from her.
But do you think that parents are now changing?
In a way, they are.
When we see the Burner Boys and the Whiz Kids
Yes.
and the Tiwa Savages
Yes.
doing well globally.
Yes.
So
Yes, we are, because I came in across Ricky Bell's wife. Her name is Amy Carabel, who I met through because Dennis, as I said, Dennis died. He was mentoring one of the DJs, and she's now working with her. Now she's now working with me. I'm mentoring her
Right.
back in the States, and those are one of the things I'm trying to push. Ricky is actually trying to see where they can work with Afrobeats.
You
And
know,
he contacted me directly.
Afrobeats is, taking over the world.
Absolutely.
So maybe starting a sort of a mentorship scheme might be a good thing.
That's what I'm doing now.
That'd be
I'm
brilliant.
focusing on mentoring, and the pandemic has been a bit of a strange one because
Challenge for everybody.
It's been very dicey because I've been used to my condition. I'm now realizing that people are now seeing how it feels to
be behind closed doors and having to work.
And trying to see how things were, and most people didn't quite understand what the implications were.
Hmm.
I saw it, I've lived through it, so I can actually understand how it works. So anybody that's going through all the rigmaroles of the pandemic, I actually had to mentor them, bring up their spirits, try and push them, and
Not everybody
it's worked.
can work under such pressure.
It's-
And I must say, now that we're going back to face-to-face engagements,
Yes.
are you sort of looking forward to it? Do you have any plans? I know that the world is having a lot to deal with right now.
Yes.
But are you looking forward to the more face-to-face engagements? We've had London Fashion Week.
Yes.
Any more plans on the cards?
There's something coming up that I'm trying to get a few individuals to invest in development of Lagos. I'm from Lagos itself, Nigeria, and most of them actually have now seen what I've done in regards to the work I've done during the pandemic, helping people. Ricky Bell's wife, Anna Carabel. I've got a lot of people who are doing some things in Dubai on Bitcoin. A lady called Nina Knight. She's there right now, introducing her to most Nigerians that have been there, spreading my wings in different locations, which has been a very good thing.
Big things with blockchain and Bitcoin and the virtual world and economies. The virtual economies are going to be the next big thing, so watch out for this. But you mentioned property in Lagos. People might not realise the way that
I think
property
Lagos
appreciates in Lagos,
Lagos
or even on the African continent in general.
Absolutely. Lagos is a very safe place in a way, and it's now modernised. It's got beyond. It's one of the richest economies in Africa.
World,
in Africa, especially the States. It's got more English-speaking people.
Yes, it's the
in
most
the world.
English. It's got
Someone
the
would think it's in
English
England, but it's
people.
not.
Yeah, no, people think England or New York again, but no, it is Lagos.
Lagos, and they've everybody's skyrocketed in regards to property.
And do you think that with the next generation of Lagosians or Nigerians that are online, that will push the value of certain coins in the metaverse, in the virtual, on the digital currencies?
Absolutely. And you can actually merge everything, because everybody is moving into a different digital form of medium of exchange, that is money, or trying to get things sorted out or push things. But apart from that one, I think they're even trying to bring Grand Prix into Lagos if possible.
Wow.
That's the future
Yes,
generation.
Mr.
So
we need
bring...
Mr. Hamilton. I know he's going to add his mother's name, but we need you in Nigeria. Yes, we would love to see you on a circuit there.
Yes.
But property, and you're saying that definitely that's a new area that you're
It's
going
a
to
new
be
area
into.
that, I stepped into it before the coronavirus came into play. And I went to go and see my father because he was not feeling too well. And I got invited to Eco Atlantic to have a look at the place, and I was like, oh gosh,
Yes.
this is not Bar Beach I used to know before.
Before Bar Beach, where you see
And they've actually started
one
moving.
small person making suya, you think this is the beach. No, Lagos has changed.
It's expanding, and it's a new frontier in regards to where people invest. We're very, how would I use the word? Fairly well technically astute individuals.
Yes.
Very smart people in Nigeria. They are very good at what they do. I think I come from that background, and I realized, because I went to St. Gregory's College, I'm the social secretary for St. Gregory's College, and I still have affiliations with the people back home.
It's about quality, especially for those who are in the diaspora. We need certainty, quality, and assurance of title. So those are things that when going into the property market in Nigeria, we want to be sure of. So we're going to make sure that we keep our eyes on you.
Absolutely.
Well,
and it's a seafront thing. It's more like, it's not like you have to go into...
So it's a bit like Dubai living.
Absolutely.
All about the new, even though reclaimed, but very lifestyle, that sort of Dubai lifestyle. So we look forward to living that. So for those of you in the diaspora, keep your eyes on Mr. Balogun. So, with regards to children, you said you have lovely girls.
Yes.
And you have your beautiful son.
Yes.
And with regards to them going into the creative industry, did they see what you do?
Oh, my youngest one, Tuva. Tuva is quite like her dad.
Oh.
And Mia, the older one, is like her dad at the same time, but he has the managerial
qualities
of my but Tuva is more of the fashion. She's got a clothing line since the age of 6.
Wow, that's
she's
amazing.
doing all that stuff. Mia is now going into it, and they're seeing what Daddy does, and they're trying to emulate. They're quite on the normal social medias. They're quite Mia has been on social media doing her own little thing, and they've been following, and I've watched them, and I've used them to actually see how the younger generation are moving.
But for those people out there who look at you and think, man, I want to be like him. He's a creative. He's not packaged himself into one small box. He hasn't allowed anyone to stick labels on him.
Absolutely.
What advice would you give that person that wants to break out into either the PR or creative industry and is a bit uncertain, might not have supportive parents, etc.? What would you say to them?
I would say sometimes it's best to, like, for example, I work with people who have been in the industry and have understood it, and taking the best parts of what they've provided to me and utilize that. All you really have to do is think for yourself. Do not depend on other people's teaching. Think of what you can input from your perspective into any industry. You can sit down and say, oh, I copied that person. No, it doesn't work that way. Most artists, recording artists, individuals who have excelled have their own, how would they call it? There's a word for it.
Their own
marker.
Stamp.
Their own stamp.
Yeah.
Madonna has her own style. Lady Gaga has her own style.
Yes.
Rihanna has her own style. Now everybody's going to the baby thing. Yeah. And they're producing other things, not just focusing on what they've actually have experience in, but adding value to it. It's the added value elements that you have to look into and understand before you start jumping into any enterprise that you're wishing to expand in. And don't get yourself pigeonholed into specifics. Have your own and create your own label or your own branding. Branding is key.
Branding is key.
It's key in anything you do. It's not about having a company and having thousands of pounds and so on and so forth. Focus on it and focus on utilizing people who, like my dear friend Richard Branson would say, if you have a project, say yes, even if you don't know about it.
Hire somebody who does.
Yes. And I'm one of those people that will just take on board, look at it, I can do it. And there's one thing, with God behind you and your faith behind you, you would always achieve what you need to achieve in life.
Oh, thank you
Even if you're
so much.
Yeah.
We have run out of time.
Absolutely.
I must say thank you so much.
That's right.
And we have to have you back again.
That's right.
And thank you for staying on board and listening to this amazing man,
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Henryson Balogun.
Yes.
And I will see you next week. And remember to be good. But if you can't be good, be careful. And don't let anybody pigeonhole you. Put your stamp on everything.
Absolutely.
Stay blessed.